Good morning. This is Miss Natalie from Whispering Trees, and this week will be about fairies. So I wanted to read this amazing book. It's a pop-up book, so it might be a little difficult to see, but it just explains how to find fairies in different areas where they like to hide, but also places in your neighborhood or in your backyard. So this is just kind of a roadmap or instruction book on how to be aware of them and to look out for them and to notice where they are, because they're all around us. How to find flower fairies. How to find flower fairies. Research conducted by Cicely Mary Barker. My camera has allowed me to capture glimpses of fairies as I explore our world. So she has photographs of different places and little stars, little orbs, little lights shining in different areas. In the woods, in a royal park, the Fairy Folklore Society. They're everywhere over here. Tree fairies. Tree fairies are expert climbers. In the treetops. Careful observation has led me to believe that treetops are favored places for fairies to make their homes, and I have discovered that the oak is a particularly popular location. The mighty oak lives for hundreds of years and has provided a safe home for many generations of tree fairies. Indeed, its leafy foliage makes an excellent shelter for a fairy house. Look up at any tree. There is so much for eyes to see, and if you're quick enough, maybe a laughing fairy in the tree. Tiny footprints may lead to a fairy's home. There's one right there. There's one right there. There's one deep inside. I don't know if you guys can see that. Under leaves, there's one right there. How to spot a tree fairy. I have discovered to my occasional discomfort that the more mischievous treetop fairies find it amusing to rain acorns, nuts, and berries down upon the heads of unsuspected humans. My advice, keep your wits about you and wear a sturdy hat during woodland walks. Use your ears as well as your eyes. On windy days, the fairies love to perch at the end of branches, enjoying the sensation of the wind blowing all around them. If you listen carefully, you might hear their tinkling laughs. If you are walking by a tree, you may hear a sudden twittering of birds. This could be a warning signal to let the fairies know of your presence. Fairies do not like humans venturing too close to their homes, and their feathered friends know to alert them if we are nearby. Clever use of clothing and colors enables the fairies to disappear into the leafy backdrop. Fairy garments are sewn from leaves, and the fairies make new costumes whenever the seasons change. Features of a tree fairy. Orange-brown tunic blends in with leaves and branches. A berry husk is worn as a hat. Edges of sleeves mimic leaves. Green tights match foliage. Okay, where else are they? The forest floor. So on the bottom of the trees. Some fairies prefer the security of being on the ground, and it is here at the foot of the ancient oak that I have discovered another favorite dwelling place, the forest floor. Fairies require their homes to be cleverly concealed. A hollow in an old tree stump can be transformed into the perfect abode. When you happen across a tree stump, look carefully for any knotholes, which fairies often use as entrances to their homes. Look for hidden entrances. I don't know if you see that little fairy hiding. Fairy steps are crafted from twigs. So they have little fairy steps. Some have tiny lights inside. Folklore states that fairies always keep their homes in excellent order. I can well imagine my tiny friends sweeping with a twig or catkin for a broom. This is my favorite. Fairy rings. A fairy ring is a place where fairies meet to dance. To find such a ring, venture into a shady glade in a quiet part of the woods. Look for a circle of fungi growing, but remember that the fairies only ever dance by the moonlight. Signs of forest fairies. There are many signs to look out for, which may reveal the presence of fairies. Ripped leaves. Fairies often use arrangements of torn leaves to pass messages on to fairy friends. Moss trails. Fairies sometimes sprinkle sparkling fairy dust upon trails of moss to guide others to their home. And tiny patterns. Unusual patterns carved in a tree trunk may indicate a fairy is living inside. So these are things to look out for. Oh my goodness. Wildflowers in the garden. Oh. In the garden, flower beds are a perfumed paradise for fairies that desire beauty above all else. Every flower has its own fairy to care for it, which explains why most of my own fairy encounters have taken place in the garden. Flower fairies wear outfits fashioned from fallen petals by dressing to impersonate the flowers that surround them. The fairies may flutter by unseen. A closed flower may be carefully opened to reveal a sleeping fairy within. No need for journeying, seeking afar. Where there are flowers, there fairies are. Let's see, there's one right there with the snail. Be alert to the presence of fairies wherever you are in a garden. Even a snail trail may not be quite what it seems. Fairies use sprinklings of fairy dust to mimic these trails when they are traveling around on the ground. A fallen petal may hide the entrance to a secret tunnel. And on summer days, some fairies hang their washing out to dry on the webs of friendly spiders. Look out for glistening petals hanging from the webs. That's really cool. Many flowers have useful functions for fairies. Some use them as secure hiding places for precious objects, such as stores of magical fairy dust. All right. by the wayside. And you can see them. The hedgerows, commonly situated by the wayside, are very safe places for fairies to live. Their thick, dense greenery contains a wealth of hidey holes and secret places. Many countryside hedgerows are hundreds of years old and contain large, established communities of fairies. But as always, they will do their very best to hide from you. Oh, if these people understood what's to be found by field and wood, what fairy secrets are made plain by any footpath, road, or lane. Fairies love to hold feasts and banquets. Look carefully for concealed entrances, and fairy wings resemble butterfly wings. Peer closely in all the gaps in the hedgerow. You never know what you might see. There's this little opening. Let's see if you can look inside. I don't know if you can see the fairy. When you're passing along the wayside, see if you can spot large numbers of butterflies fluttering around. Hedgerow fairies often fly amongst butterflies. They provide an excellent means of concealment while traveling. Can you see any resonance of nutshells or berries on the ground? These are signs that fairy feast has recently taken place. The marsh. Sparkly paths show the fairies have recently passed by. Past expeditions have led to my discovery that the misty world of the marshlands is the most revered location in the fairy kingdom. Fairies that live here wish to be close as possible to their king and queen, King Cup and Queen of the Meadow. Few humans venture to the marshlands, and should you visit, great care must be taken here. But the rewards may be ample, especially if you're lucky enough to happen upon the fairy monarchs themselves. If you look carefully, you may spot the fairy king and queen. Let's see. I don't see the king. I don't know if you can see all that. Be sure to pay attention to all hollows and crevices. And perhaps fairies use large leaves as fairy boats? Marsh fairies are very evasive, but you can spot them if you look hard enough. Have you ever seen tiny footprints in the swampy ground? Look carefully. These could lead you to a fairy hiding place deep in the riverbank. My dear Dulcie, I was lucky enough to glimpse and capture on my trusty camera a tree fairy recently. There has been much speculation about this, but the general public have not seen my picture. After all, only true believers are able to see the fairies. Your loving friend, Cicely. This is her camera that she used back in 1930. One of those old cameras. Oh, let me turn the book around. You can see there's a fairy right there. So this is a special book by a special author, and she wrote this in 1930 in England. And this is a how-to book. So this is a very special, rare book. It was pretty hard to find, and I got it just for you guys so we can just see where the fairies live and be more aware of our surroundings and when we're walking gently and why we have to walk gently on the earth. Because there's other creatures besides us, even ones that we don't always get to see. So I hope you have fun on your hike, and let me know what you find next time. And I will talk to you guys soon. Have a great day. Bye.